Coming up on tonight's show, we catch you up with Centennial College sports.
The Argos and YMCA team up to promote active lifestyle in the community.
And skateboarder Jay Mandarino opens up the doors to CJ's skate park.
See ya, Papa Wheelie, Tony Hawk.
Hi, welcome to Centennial Sports TV. I'm Carson and this is Becky.
We have a lot of sport and news to get to, starting off with Centennial Soccer, where our own Nicole Cartier was on hand at the game.
I'm here at Lamoureux Field, where the men's Centennial Colts soccer team are facing off against Durham College in their 7th game of the season. The Colts kicked off the first half, hoping to improve their 4th place position in the East. Dominating the possession in the first, the Colts would put pressure on goalie Zayd Halabi. He would make the good save. Durham College would respond on a corner kick named straight at Philip Lisco. He would save it. Beautiful save. Still no score. A few minutes later, a Cole would go down with a crushing hit, but he would be okay and continue to play the game. A few minutes later, on a free kick, the shot would go wide and be a scoreless game at the half. The 60th minute, Orlando Forbes takes a free kick, and Centennial scores. It is 1-0. Durham College would try to close the gap, but their shots would go wide. The Colts would then try to take a stronger lead, but both shots would be blocked. Following this, Margot Trotta would score in the last minute of play, tying the game at 1. I talked to Coach Julian Carr about the team's upcoming game and the playoffs.
If we continue to do what we did in the second half by holding the ball, then we'll be fine. If we don't hold the ball and move the ball, then we're going to have issues. It'll be on a turf surface like this at Esther Schreiner, so George Brown's used to the surface, so we've played on this surface now 2 games, so we should be ready. We should be fine. As long as we possess the ball, we're okay. We had to win this game to make sure that we had a shot at least at 3rd. We don't have a shot at 3rd now, so we're looking at 4th or 5th, and so which means we travel. That's fine. You know what? Hopefully we travel, we play on grass, and we play on grass, we'll be okay.
For Centennial Sports TV, I'm Nicole Cartier.
The Centennial Colts women's soccer team is currently sitting in 6th overall in the Eastern Division. As the regular season winds down, tension is on the rise, though, between opposing teams. On Wednesday, the Colts suffered a hefty 4-0 loss to Durham College. Things became especially heated midway through the game when a fight broke out on the field involving several women from both teams. The Colts are gearing up for tomorrow as they look to take down Loyalist College. Staying with the Colts varsity teams, the newly formed golf team competed for the provincial title last week. The team of 5 hit the road, and CSTV's Dane Belbeck was there.
The 3rd and final day is in the books here at the 2012 OCAA Golf Championships at Roseland Golf and Country Club in Windsor, Ontario. And for the first time since 1991, Centennial College has sent a team to compete in the tournament. Now, while the numbers don't necessarily show a successful trip, numbers don't always tell the story.
My expectations weren't high in terms of finishing and gold medals and silver medals around here. My expectations were to come to the tournament and just to let everybody know that Centennial College is back.
The addition of the golf program marks the 7th varsity team for Centennial College, with hopes of a women's team for next season. The 3-day tournament, won by the Humber Hawks, helped to remind the players that there is more to golf than just the scores on the card.
The 3 days were good just because the camaraderie and getting to know the guys on the team, and being able to interact with guys that go to the same college as me, and being that I'm an old guy, it's pretty cool to hook up with some people. But
I can eventually see Centennial being a part of this OCAA championships and being a team to be feared.
3 days of difficult scoring conditions yielded a 12th place finish for the Colts, but built a solid foundation for the program for years to come. For CSTV, I'm Dane Belbeck.
A tradition in the East York community is the annual Friday Night Lights football game. For the 2nd straight year, the Leaside Lancers beat the East York Collegiate Goliaths. The Lancers won 35-7 in front of 2,000 fans Friday night. Lancers quarterback Michael Gallagher led the squad with 3 touchdowns, and running back Mike Williams averaged 5 yards per carry on the ground. The East York Goliaths struggled defensively throughout the game and could never rebound from the early deficit. The loss leaves them at 1-3 for the season, while the win lifted Leaside to 2-1. Up ahead on the show, the Argos are in the community teaching kids how to live a healthy lifestyle.
And Jay Mandarino talks about his struggles outside of skateboarding.
All ahead on CSTV.
So you want to be a sports journalist? Well, here at Centennial College, we have experienced teachers working in the industry, state-of-the-art facilities, and a passionate student body. So now the only question is, do you have what it takes? Will you do whatever it takes to get the interview? Got a second? Are you prepared to ask the tough questions? Have you ever taken performance-enhancing drugs? Can you produce your best work while meeting tight deadlines? I'm killing this! And will you work with a team to create a great final product? Alright, your idea was great, yours was just okay, and I gotta be honest, I got no idea what the hell you're doing. Our sports journalism program will prepare you for the fast-paced world of radio, print, and television. So what are you waiting for? Just log on to our website at centennialcollege.ca to find out more information and jumpstart your career in sports.
After losing 97% of her vision following the birth of her second child, Victoria Nolan turned to rowing to help battle the onset of depression. By 2008, the Gled Hill public school teacher was participating in her first Paralympics. CSTV's Emma Marshall caught up with Nolan after she returned home from the London Games.
After finishing in 6th place at the Beijing Paralympics, Victoria Nolan was determined to improve the Canadian rowing team's performance at the London Paralympic Games while balancing a teaching career, motherhood, and a rigorous training schedule.
I was training 3 times a day for about 4 hours a day, as well as my teaching career, and I'm a mom as well, so it really was insane. I definitely could not do it without the support of my husband. Obviously, that's huge. So he was, full-time dad, single dad with the kids most of the time. It was a long 4 years, really hard, intense training. We, in 2010, won gold and won the World Championships in New Zealand, which was amazing, but we were still on our way to this goal of going to London and winning gold there. So, we didn't really celebrate that as much, because it was just a step on the way to getting there. The following year we won silver, and that was a bit of a disappointment, but we were ready to make our comeback in London and win gold. And so you can imagine it was really disappointing when we got to London, and all of a sudden the competition had picked up so much, and we ended up coming in 7th.
For Nolan, London would prove to be her final games, as she had planned all along to retire after 2012.
It was just getting too much with, too much time away from my family.
While she may have retired from competitive rowing at the national level, Nolan vows to still continue with the sport at her local club.
It's amazing what rowing has done for me. Obviously there's the health and the physical benefits, but it's done so much for me emotionally, my confidence. Definitely. Sometimes it's hard to always go and fight those battles. If someone's giving you a hard time about bringing your guide dog somewhere, it's tempting to just go, okay, and turn around and go home. But I feel like, after all I've accomplished, I do have this inner strength, and I feel almost like a responsibility to do something because I've had all this background, that I should be able to stand up and say something, and so I do.
From Iron Man to Batman, there were no shortages of superheroes as hundreds took part in the 7th annual Easter Seals Drop Zone in downtown Toronto to raise money for a good cause.
Almost on the ground, dressed as Iron Man, waving to the crowd.
When you spot your favorite superheroes taking the big drop, you think of an amusement park. But this ride is doing more than giving people chills and thrills. It's raising money for a good cause.
This event was something that for us made us push our limits and see what we can overcome our challenges, because kids with physical disabilities, they have to overcome challenges every day, and the money raised today actually will go to assistive devices, wheelchairs, walkers that actually make their lives easier, and that's why this is so important.
Funding will also make dreams come true for many children.
Well, to me, it's just the old means. camp every summer. I've been going for 4 years.
This is a very unique fundraising event. You're not walking or running. Instead, you get to descend down a 17-story building. And the best thing about it, anybody can do it.
That's because taking the plunge uses a device that will automatically lock if the participant loses control of their descent. There's also a mandatory training session, and to ensure maximum safety, there are 2 personnel stationed at the top and bottom to control the ropes. And for some, the extra high levels of safety meant more creativity in the costume department.
Well, I was afraid that like one of my breasts would slip out. I didn't want that to happen. But generally, it was actually coming off the building. Off the building was the hardest. Was probably the scariest part. But after that, it was awesome.
While some came for the thrill-seeking, others to conquer a personal fear, and yet others to make a difference in the lives of children with physical disabilities. At the end, the common denominator, repelling, brought out in people, was to push everyone to their limits. Alima Hotaki reporting for Centennial Sports TV.
Now to the MLB playoffs, where the Detroit Tigers and Cincinnati Reds look to close out their series tonight after both jumping out to 2-game leads. The Tigers are in Oakland, hoping to knock out the A's, while Cincinnati can eliminate the Giants at home. The Orioles also squeaked by the Yankees last night to even their series at 1, while the Bats came alive in St. Louis as the Cardinals pounded the Nationals 12-4 to also square their series.
On Thanksgiving Monday, the Argos looked to grab first place in the East when they ran into a tough Saskatchewan squad. Rough Riders QB Darian Durant went 21 for 28, throwing for 275 yards and a touchdown, as Saskatchewan beat the Argos 36-10. Riders running back Corey Sheets added another 115 yards on the ground, capped off by a 48-yard TD run in the third quarter. Toronto's offense struggled all afternoon as QB Jarius Jackson managed just 162 yards with 1 TD and 1 interception. The Argos fell to 7-7 on the season with the loss. The Boatmen will look to bounce back on Sunday when they face the East-leading Montreal Alouettes at the Rogers Centre. Earlier in the week, CSTV's Michael Skrzniak caught up with Jason Pottinger of the Toronto Argos during one of the team's youth programs at the Scarborough YMCA.
Roughly 100 children attending each individual session. The goal of the YMCA and their partnership with the Argos is to help kids get away from computers and televisions, where they can learn to get outside, get active, and make good choices.
I learned a lot. I didn't know that you would have to eat healthy to like eat really healthy to become really good at athletic stuff. So I thought it was good, and it was cool meeting Jason from the Argos. I have to get good grades to become a professional player.
Even though the Toronto Argonauts are in a heated playoffs race, they take time out of their busy schedule to teach kids in the local communities to eat healthy, play safe, and just have fun. Jason Pottinger, a former OUA standout, is a big supporter of youth football.
I'm here to basically have fun with the kids and teach them about a healthy, active lifestyle, right? The kids these days they're forgetting what it's like to be out there, be active and playing with each other instead of sitting inside and playing video games. And also we're here to promote eating healthy, you know what I mean? There's so much temptation when it comes to junk foods and snacks, pop, all that stuff, and it's everywhere. Vending machines here and there, it's always in sight. And kids don't necessarily always get the message of the important stuff to put in your body, especially if you want to go on to become a good athlete, play high-level sports.
While the second overall pick of the 2006 CFL Draft is dedicated to helping today's youth, he knows the impact that a mentor or role model can have on children. He learned from another former Argo and CFL great.
Specifically with Kimball Clemens when he was playing with the Argos. He would come out to Oshawa, he would run us through a bunch of skill drills, and he would give us a great talk after, and it stuck with me till today. I remember I was 12 years old, grade 7, and I remember it just like it was yesterday. It had a significant impact on my life. Just don't be afraid to succeed. Don't be afraid to fail or succeed.
Still to come on CSTV, Becky shows us how tough it is to prepare for a marathon.
And finally, we will introduce you to Jay Mandarino.
This morning, the NHL is closed for business. It's all about money. $3.3 billion in revenue, and the owners and unions disagree on how to use that money.
Team owners said that empty arenas were preferable.
Billions of dollars are at stake.
Dark thoughts, especially when they cancel the season. Lockout could also start to affect local businesses and even force layoffs. Key players get more of the revenue pie than venues. The league commissioner on a lockout drove fans away from the game. These guys are making a crapload of money. I can't feel sorry for either party, to be honest.
Welcome back to the show. During the past few months, friends, family, and colleagues tell me I'm crazy for running a marathon. I'm talking about 42 kilometers here, people. But there is a special reason why all the hard training is worth the sacrifice. Here's my story.
For Becky Scott, there are only 42 kilometers standing between her and her goal. This Sunday, on October 14th, the 27-year-old Unionville native will look to complete her third full marathon in under 3 hours and 35 minutes.
First one I did, it was back in Ottawa 2009, and that same year I ran the Good Life Marathon in Toronto in October. I did pretty well, I think. Kinda. Stepping up onto a curb was very painful at the end of the race, and it was for about the next week. So I'm hoping to avoid that this time around. Hardest challenges has definitely been time management. I go to school, I also work, I have a dude who's been awesome, and just making the time that I have to run 15K about 4 times a week, and then
It was not a love of running that inspired Becky to pursue completing a marathon. It was a result of her own struggles and life experiences that she found the motivation to push beyond her boundaries.
I was hospitalized with a heart condition, and the doctors were surprised I hadn't dropped out of a heart attack. My heart rate was 34 beats per minute. They couldn't even measure my blood pressure with, the natural way. They had to hook me up to a machine. And I lost my soccer scholarship. I was never the same player after that. And it was very, very challenging to come away from that. I'm running for the Be Strong Foundation, which was established by my friend Lindsay Bolger, who passed away in 2009 from brain cancer. She was an incredible, incredible woman. And it was extremely difficult. 2 years before we lost Lindsay, we lost our friend Michelle, and same group of friends. We all grew up playing sports together. Our families knew each other. Michelle passed away in her sleep from heart arrhythmia. And it was very, very difficult for me. And that's kind of why I like challenging myself and doing these things, because nothing makes you feel more alive than, when you're pushing when you're trying new things and seeing what you can actually accomplish. And, I feel like I kind of owe it to them to do that. And, when I'm on my training run and I pass by our house, I just think of all the funny times that we've had together, and it kind of gives me extra motivation to push through that extra 10K.
To give anything less than your best is to sacrifice the gift, is a quote that has lifted Becky in times of struggle. Her friends remain in her heart, and that has helped her to live in the moment and push herself to her full potential.
Canadian tennis fans have something to cheer about, as Thornhill's Milos Raonic has reached a new high at number 14 in the ATP Tour rankings, his highest spot to date. Raonic reached the final of the Japan Open over the weekend, but lost in 3 sets to Japan's Kei Nishikori. Raonic beat recent Olympic gold medalist and U.S. Open champion Andy Murray in the semis. He plays this week in the Shanghai Rolex Masters in China and is set to face Cyprus's Marcos Baghdatis in the second round.
Skateboarding gave Jay Mandarino a second chance at life, one thing he is using to make a difference in the lives of children in Etobicoke. CSTV's Tom Ruminski has his story.
How has skateboarding influenced my life? I could probably talk hours for that, but I know you don't have that kind of time. I know when I was 8 or 9, I attempted suicide.
Jay Mandarino's first real challenge was not with the bowl, flat ground tricks, or the half pipe. It was a battle with depression.
Very low self-esteem. I would go home crying. I was getting in fights. I had terrible childhood, really. I couldn't do any sports. I couldn't even ride a bike. So they found I had ADHD and dyslexia. So they sent me to a special school to learn how to cope with this challenge. And at that school I learned to skateboard. And skateboarding I just gravitated towards, and it was amazing. And it was like, it really changed my whole life for the better.
Despite his learning disabilities, Jay Mandarino has been able to turn his passion for skateboarding and translate it into creating one of the best skate parks in Ontario.
The emphasis is, as much as everybody thinks it's about skateboarding, it's really a bigger picture than that. Because skateboarding had such an influence on my life. I'm a successful business person now. I have 12 companies, 40 employees, won major awards all over the United States and Canada. It's really about empowering kids, you know, giving a place for kids to go and have fun and just being kids and doing what they want to do. Whether it's skateboarding, BMX, inline, scooting, whatever it is.
Andre Young is one of the kids that has reached new heights at CJ Skate Park. The 13-year-old sensation is already sponsored and has Jay to thank for his meteoric rise.
How he's impacted my life is from being a free skater, doing whatever I want in the industry, to being a sponsored skater, working with Jay on projects and all that, and just giving him info on the park and just skating for him, skating for a fun guy.
Sometimes Jay's best lessons are taught from his own experiences.
It goes to the self-esteem. Like, I felt really bad. I felt that no one cared about me. And then when he came along, he made me feel really good with skateboarding, and that helped it a lot. I felt better about myself.
Wow, that's quite the story. That place looks awesome.
I'm a big fan of foam pits. I would quite like a foam pit to jump into after my marathon.
Yeah, are you excited for your marathon? How are you going to get ready for that?
I'm super stoked. Honestly, the best thing about training for a marathon, ladies, you will know, you can eat whatever you want, basically.
Well, don't forget to stretch and rehydrate.
Oh, you know, Gatorade, G2, that's how I roll.
Good stuff. I'm Carson Mondi from CSTV.
And I'm Becky Scott. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a good night. Yeah.
So you want to be a sports journalist? Well, here at Centennial College, we have experienced teachers working in the industry, state-of-the-art facilities, and a passionate student body. So now the only question is, do you have what it takes? Will you do whatever it takes to get the interview? Got a second? Are you prepared to ask the tough questions? Have you ever taken performance-enhancing drugs? Can you produce your best work while meeting tight deadlines? I'm killing this! And will you work with a team to create a great final product? Alright, your idea was great, yours was just okay, and I gotta be honest, I got no idea what the hell you're doing. Our sports journalism program will prepare you for the fast-paced world of radio, print, and television. So what are you waiting for? Just log on to our website at centennialcollege.ca to find out more information and jumpstart your career in sports.